Greetings, creatures from the Black Lagoon. I'm Benthelooney, and welcome back to Octoberfest. If you think back to last week, I said that this week I was going to present to you some real Godzilla goodness, and I am a cartoon character of my word. With how much I love Godzilla, I thought it would be a great idea to count down the top 12 Godzilla movies that I hold as my personal favorites. Don't worry, I love all of the Godzilla movies. Except for one. That's not a Godzilla movie! Yeah, that mess of stock footage and horrible acting. Anyway, even though there will be 16 Godzilla movies that aren't going to be on this list, that doesn't mean I hate them. I only have room for 12 Godzilla movies, and I want to showcase the ones that I've gotten the most entertainment out of. So, if you're ready to have your homes crushed, here are my top 12 favorite Godzilla movies. Number 12, Son of Godzilla. I know, you probably want to jam a Singapore cane down my throat, but hear me out. On a tropical island, a group of scientists are experimenting on how to control the weather in order to make them able to grow food in the harshest environments to stop world hunger. The only problem is, the experiments use a lot of radiation, which causes native insects on the island to grow to massive size. Also, the island is home to an egg that has Godzilla's son inside, which eventually hatches when Godzilla arrives on the island. Godzilla spends the rest of this movie teaching his son and saving him from giant mantises named Kamacuras and a giant spider named Kumanga. This movie has divided several Godzilla fans. Some claim this is the point where the Godzilla movies took a turn towards the kid audience. While this is true, I really wasn't bothered by that. I don't know why, but I always liked the idea of Godzilla being a hero, so seeing him in a more lighthearted movie isn't damaging to me. In fact, I love this movie. I just love seeing Godzilla spending time with his son, Manila. Godzilla's a good dad, even if he does abuse his son sometimes. It was accidental, I promise. Also, Godzilla's design looks a little goofy in this movie, but it's grown on me. True, the monster action is toned down in this movie, but it's a nice break to actually see a comedic Godzilla movie. The crew behind the Godzilla movies proved that they could try new things when it came to Godzilla, and still make him an entertaining character. So, Son of Godzilla is one of the few Godzilla movies that makes me say, aww. Number 11, Mothra vs. Godzilla. A giant egg washes upon the shore of Tokyo, and a greedy businessman steals the egg and makes it a tourist attraction. Two tiny women called the Shobijin, who are from an island called Infant Island, say the egg belongs to Mothra, and they wanted to get it back. The Shobijin then seek the help of 3 reporters to get the egg back. Meanwhile, Godzilla appears, and it's up to the reporters to ask the natives of Infant Island to make Mothra stop Godzilla and save Japan. This was a movie I hated as a kid, because... Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Godzilla is defeated by worms. Trucking worms. As a kid, I just couldn't buy that. But as an adult, I've come to realize that the reason Godzilla loses in this movie is because he's the villain. So, I forgive that ending now. But still, screw those worms. Anyway, this movie is considered one of the best Godzilla movies, for good reason. Every member of the crew were given 100% when it came to their work. The special effects got really amped up in this movie, as Godzilla fights against a flying monster for the first time. As many times I've seen this movie, I don't think any strings holding Mothra are visible, so that's very impressive. Also, Godzilla's bad grass in this movie. Of course, he's Godzilla, he's always bad grass. But this movie is the perfect example of his bad grassery. Just look at his face. He has evil eyebrows. That doesn't say bad grass, I don't know what does. Also, the army in this movie really does their best to kill Godzilla, but Godzilla just keeps going forward. He's unstoppable. That is until the worms show up. Screw you, worms! Bottom line, Mothra vs. Godzilla is a movie that shows just how much Godzilla is a threat to the humans, and how Godzilla really is a force of destruction. Number 10, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. In 1992, an anti-Godzilla organization rebuilds my personal favorite Godzilla foe, Mechagodzilla, as a way to kill Godzilla. Meanwhile, a Japanese team of scientists come across an egg in a pteranodon nest, and they take it. Which doesn't turn out being a good idea because Godzilla's old buddy Rodan starts to attack them to get the egg back. So, where does Godzilla fit in all this? Well, it turns out the egg actually belongs to Godzilla, so Godzilla has to get his egg back while dealing with Mechagodzilla and Rodan. This film comes from the second series of Godzilla films called the Heisei series, which were made from 1984 to 1995. These movies had the basic elements that made Godzilla great, but there were a few changes made due to the advancements in filmmaking at the time. While I like the Heisei series, I do feel they rely a little too much on the monsters just shooting beams at each other, as opposed to the monsters fighting each other in hand-to-hand combat. Or in this case, claw-to-claw combat. But this is a movie from the Heisei series that really stands out. I love how Mechagodzilla is brought back, as I feel he's Godzilla's greatest foe, which I'll get more into detail on later. I also love how Rodan is back. When I was a kid, Rodan was one of my favorite Godzilla monsters, and seeing him get a cool updated look is pretty awesome. Also, there's the appearance of Baby Godzilla. Oh my god, so adorable. I also love how there are several plots going on that all tie together, which is common in Godzilla movies. Finally, there's a lot of monster action in this movie to satisfy anyone who loves watching monsters beat each other up. So, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 is one of the few examples of there being a great sequel to another Godzilla movie. Keep in mind, I said one of. Number 9. Godzilla vs. Megalon. Yeah, it's a miracle I'm still alive. So, this movie's about an underwater civilization who's ticked off at the people of Earth, so they send up a giant cyborg beetle named Megalon to kill all the surface dwellers. However, a mechanical man named Jet Jaguar is there to fight off Megalon. But Megalon is soon aided by another cyborg monster named Gigan, so it's up to Jet Jaguar to seek the help of Godzilla and settle this in a tag team monster battle. This movie is considered to be either the second worst or the worst Godzilla movie, depending on who you talk to. And to be honest, yeah, it's one of the weaker ones. But I can't help it! I love it! Yes, it's bad, but it's so bad it's good! Sure, the scenes involving the humans are a snore fest, but once the monsters appear, that's when the movie gets enjoyable. The final battle at the end of the movie is worth the price of admission alone. It's one of the longest Godzilla battles, and if memory serves me right, it's almost 20 minutes long, so you're getting lots of monster action in this one. Also, the battle has some of the funniest moments in the whole Godzilla franchise, but the most iconic is Godzilla's flying dropkick. I never get tired of seeing that. Bottom line, if you're in a bad mood and think that life is treating you badly, just watch this movie and get a boost of wonderfully happy feelings. Number 8. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. A prophecy is uncovered that a monster will destroy the world, and it turns out being correct as Godzilla appears and starts to destroy everything in his path, even beating the heck out of his buddy Anguirus. I don't think that's Godzilla. And in a no-duh moment, another Godzilla appears to reveal the other for what it truly is, Mechagodzilla, a giant robot built by gorillas from outer space who want to take over the Earth. Now, it's up to Godzilla and an ancient monster named King Caesar to stop Mechagodzilla. What I love about this movie is that I was used to seeing Godzilla dominating every monster that got in his way. Except for those trucking worms! So, it was cool to see Godzilla have a real challenge in this movie. Mechagodzilla proves to be Godzilla's most powerful foe, as he has weapons on every single one of his body parts. Mechagodzilla became my favorite Godzilla foe after I saw this movie, because he scared me to think that he was the one who was going to kill off my main monster. Nice try, Mecha G, but organic material beats manufactured material any day. Also, the plot of this movie is so ridiculous that I just have to appreciate it. Finally, the monster battles are great as always, with Godzilla doing some of his best hidey kicking in this one. So, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is a movie that proves that no matter how cliche, robot duplicates are always awesome. Number 7. Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. A princess from another planet tries to warn the people of Earth that a monster from space is coming to kill everyone. Meanwhile, Godzilla and Rodan are beating the heck out of each other while causing destruction at the same time, and Mothra has to get them to work together to stop the space monster that's coming. Eventually, the space monster arrives, and its name is Ghidorah, and the Earth monsters must stop it before it's too late. What a great movie this is! This was the 5th Godzilla movie to come out, and it showed that Toho kept upping the ante when it came to the series. If you thought Godzilla fighting one monster was great, how about Godzilla along with Rodan and Mothra teaming up to fight one monster with 3 heads? Yeah, it's too much epicness for you to handle. That leads to my next point, and that's Ghidorah. He's become Godzilla's most popular foe, and he's my second favorite Godzilla foe. I guess it's pretty obvious why. Just look at him. That's one monster you don't want to mess with. He was a very difficult effect to pull off at the time, but the effort put into pulling it off worked well, and Ghidorah comes off as an intimidating monster. Finally, I just love seeing Godzilla team up with other monsters. I believe this is the point where Godzilla movies started to take a more kid approach as Godzilla becomes the hero in this movie. But seeing as how I always saw Godzilla as a hero, I never was bothered by him being the good guy. This movie also has one of the funniest scenes in the whole Godzilla series. There's a scene where Mothra is trying to talk Godzilla and Rodan into stopping Ghidorah, and the Shobijin are having to translate what the monsters are saying. There's one point where the Shobijin say, "Oh, Godzilla, what terrible language!" I never knew Godzilla had it in him. Anyway, Ghidorah the Three-Head Monster is a classic Godzilla movie, as it's got all the monster violence and funny moments to keep anybody entertained. Number 6. Godzilla vs. Destroya. So, it turns out all the nuclear energy inside Godzilla is starting to boil up, and it will cause Godzilla to explode and destroy the world. So, the humans have to freeze Godzilla in order to prevent him from exploding. Meanwhile, a monster that was created by the Oxygen Destroyer, the device that killed Godzilla in the first Godzilla movie, is wreaking havoc on Japan. Meanwhile, Godzilla's son is running amok and runs into Destroya. So now, Godzilla has to kick Destroya's tail and save his son. This is yet another fan favorite among Godzilla fans for plenty of reasons, but I have my own. I love how this film is a throwback to the dark tone of the first Godzilla movie. As much as I enjoy the lighthearted Godzilla movies, I love it when they take Godzilla seriously, not just as a bouncing monster to make kids happy. I also love this movie for Destroya. Just look at him! He's the perfect frame of reference to picture what Satan looks like. Alright, I'll say it. Destroya! Finally, the moment that caused me to go to therapy at the age of 6, Godzilla dies. Yeah, they literally show Godzilla dying. He doesn't just die, he freaking melts. Akira Ifukube's sad music doesn't help brighten the scene up. Well, as an adult, I'm proud to say that I can watch this scene and not cry. Sure, I bawl my eyes out, but I wouldn't say I cried. So, Godzilla vs. Destroya is a movie that you might want to save up for. Not because the movie itself is expensive, but your therapy afterwards will be. Number 5. Destroy All Monsters. Hot Japanese chicks from space named the Keylocks take control of all the Earth's monsters to go on a world destruction tour, reducing all the world's major cities to shambles. It's up to the humans to destroy the device that controls the monsters, and then it'll be up to the Earth monsters to stop Ghidorah from finishing what the Earth monsters started. Ah yeah! This is a monster movie to end all monster movies. We get 11 monsters in one movie. 11! That was a record held by this movie until it was broken by Godzilla Final Wars. This is a movie that all Godzilla fans wanted. A movie where all the monsters get together in one film just to destroy everything. That's what I love most about it. I love seeing all the monsters all in one movie, and it doesn't disappoint. Sure, it is a little slow movie, but it makes up for it with seeing all the monsters destroy all the major cities, and the final battle between the Earth monsters and Ghidorah. Add in some great music by Akira Ifukube, and you've got not only the essential Godzilla movie, but the essential monster movie. Number 4. Terror of Mechagodzilla. In this direct sequel to Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the spacemen from the third planet are in the process of rebuilding Mechagodzilla in order to take over the world. But, learning from their mistakes, they form an alliance with a scientist who has control of a dinosaur named Titanosaurus. Now, Godzilla must do his best to stop the new deadly duo and save the Earth. What I love about this movie is the challenge Godzilla faces. In the previous Mechagodzilla movie, Godzilla had help in destroying Mechagodzilla, but now, Mechagodzilla is the one with the aid. I also love the new monster, Titanosaurus. A lot of Godzilla fans think he's annoying, but I like him. It's just that dinosaur lover in me. Also, the soundtrack for this movie is one of the best in the series. It's dark and loud, setting the tone for the whole film. Finally, the battles are intense as Godzilla really gets pushed to his limit, and it almost looks like Godzilla isn't going to make it out alive. But he's Godzilla. He's unfreaking-stoppable! Well, except for when it comes to oxygen destroyers, nuclear meltdowns, and trucking worms! Okay, enough of the worms. So, Terror of Mechagodzilla is a great example of a movie sequel actually being superior to its predecessor. At least in my opinion. Number 3. Godzilla vs. Ghidorah. Oh boy, this one is a doozy. Okay, so there's a tadpole from space that feeds off the pollution on Earth and gets stronger the more it consumes. The bigger it gets, the more poisonous gas and sludge it drops on the earth. So, Godzilla gets to Ghidorah before Captain Planet does, and it's up to him to stop the sludge-filled beast from turning Mother Earth into one big garbage dump. Oh, and there are some animated sequences thrown in, as well as hippie music. Without a doubt, this is the weirdest Godzilla movie. And I love it. This is another Godzilla movie that divides fans. Some fans hate how campy it is with its message of anti-pollution, while others love how trippy and out of the norm it is. Being a big environmentalist, I love this movie's message. It got across to me better than any park ranger talking at a Boy Scouts meeting could. All you have to do to get kids to stop littering is to tell them that a giant crap-covered monster will rise out of the water and kill us all! It worked on me. Also, being a big fan of trippy stuff, I love this film's atmosphere and tone. Half the time, you're not going to know what's going on. In some cases, you forget you're watching a Godzilla movie. Finally, I like to add that the producer, Tomoyuki Tanaka, hated this film so much that he told the director he ruined Godzilla and banned him from making a Godzilla film. Oh, come on! You approved of this? But not this? Film producers, you can never predict them. Also, I would like to add this. This is the greatest scene in cinema history. Don't badmouth its awesomeness! So, Godzilla vs. Ghidorah is a movie that'll stop you from throwing your Tootsie Roll wrappers on the ground. Number 2, King Kong vs. Godzilla. Aw yeah. An angry Japanese businessman is tired of Godzilla, and he orders his 2 lackeys to go find a monster to stop Godzilla. So, what monster is there that stands a chance against Big G? Who else but the monster that inspired the creation of Godzilla, King Kong himself. So, King Kong was brought to Japan, and he and Godzilla had the greatest battle ever in film history. How the heck can this not be on my favorites list? It's only a movie that puts the 2 greatest movie monsters on screen to beat each other up. Yeah, who wouldn't watch that? Seeing these 2 fight is a fantasy come true, and this movie gives it to us. But there are other reasons. I also love the sense of humor this movie has. There is a lot of comedy between the businessman and his 2 lackeys. You feel like you're watching a Japanese comedy movie instead of a Godzilla movie, but it's good when the human characters are enjoyable and you're not just waiting for the monsters to show up. Also, we get to see hot native women dancing in bikinis. That's always a treat, am I right? Although, one issue I have with this film is the English dub, and I only complain because as of right now, the Japanese version hasn't been released on DVD in America. Anyway, seeing as how Americans like to make themselves look like the top dog, they changed a lot of things in this movie to make it look like Godzilla isn't even a challenge for King Kong. They try to claim that Godzilla's brain is the size of a marble. Screw you. Also, the ending is altered to make it look like King Kong killed Godzilla, but in the Japanese version, Godzilla is still alive, King Kong just swims away. Nice try, English dub. You couldn't even convince me as a kid that Big G was a vulnerable dunce. So, King Kong vs. Godzilla. The best way to know how awesome this movie is to just read the title. And watch the movie, of course. Number 1. Gojira. Was there ever any doubt? Several Japanese fishing boats disappear, and a scientist discovers that a prehistoric creature has been brought back to life by nuclear bombs and is back to get its revenge on mankind. Now, it's up to a young doctor to find a way to destroy the monster if his love life doesn't get in the way. This is the one that started it all. The movie that brought my favorite movie monster into the world. It has everything I love about Godzilla. The great special effects, the great musical score, the great human characters, and how much it makes me feel like a child. However, there is more to this movie than just a this is more than just a run-of-the-mill monster movie. This is a movie that not only was the birth of Godzilla, but it is a movie that provoked thought among several people. It's a movie that shows just what nuclear weapons can do, and that if mankind resumes to tamper with weapons and cause destruction, we'll eventually wipe ourselves out, and Mother Nature will not help us either. It's a movie that basically tells us that mankind is its own worst enemy, and not loving our fellow men will lead to our extinction. Godzilla represents the atomic bomb as an emotionless force of destruction that can't be stopped, and it's a creation of man of self. This movie wasn't propaganda to make Americans look like angry killing machines. It's a movie that basically says, wake up people, this is what hatred and weapons will do if we don't learn to love one another and put down our arms. It's a movie that has an overall message of peace, and it's telling us to reach out our hands to each other and to stop hatred before it's too late. It's not only my favorite Godzilla movie, it's my favorite film of all time. I can't think of any other movie that has changed me as a person the way this movie has. Not only does it work as a great monster movie, but it works as an olive branch to warn the world that the only thing warfare is good for is nothing. So, there are my 12 favorite Godzilla movies. What are yours? I'm Benthelooney, and I'm signing out. I'm gonna go find out how big Godzilla's brain really is.
Hellbent, Hellbent, Valletta!